everyone gets nervous and it's okay to make mistakes. And that's what I've learned later on is like sometimes we can't do everything perfect. And to learn is when you make the mistakes. The fear of the unknown is sometimes the most scariest thing, but actually sometimes a bit of a leap, a bit of a challenge is actually motivating. Try something new, push yourself, push your boundaries, and yeah, you never know what it could lead to.
Hello and welcome to the Future Faces podcast. I'm your host, Sophie Poduval-Morrell. The Future Faces podcast is hosted by Future Faces Chamber of Commerce, the network helping young professionals across the West Midlands to network and connect. On this podcast today, we are going to be talking about resilience, we're going to be talking about determination, and what it's like to overcome barriers and challenging perceptions. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by British Paralympian swimmer, 5 gold medals, Ellie Simmonds.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me here and looking forward to chatting away with you.
And you're also a BAFTA award-winning documentary maker.
Yeah, that is definitely something I like to say because I think like people know me for my swimming and my swimming achievements, but then since retiring from the sport of swimming back in 2021 after Tokyo, it's nice to have that next chapter and to have something that's tangible and something like a BAFTA, which is you think of the likes of actors, actresses having it, but for me, having a BAFTA and talking about a subject which is so close to my heart, talking about adoption and disability in the care system and my journey of finding my birth mum because I was adopted and fostered. It means a lot to say BAFTA winner.
I mean, I was just blown away. I've watched all your documentary. I cried through like 4 hours.
Sorry, I'm making you cry.
Just, I mean, how amazing to have completely different careers and so young to have like 2 totally different careers. A lot of our listeners are young professionals in all different sort of industries, and we want to talk today a little bit about, what do you do once I mean, how you retire at 26 and then you have to almost not reinvent yourself, but to an extent, career-wise.
Oh, very much. Yeah, reinvent yourself. I think for me, I was really, really lucky. I found my talent at such a young age. I went to my first Paralympics in Beijing in 2008 at the age of 13. And then there was London 2012 when I was 17. And then Rio 2016, I was 21. And then my last Paralympics, um, I was trying to 25, 24, 25, and then I made the decision to retire after those games at the age of 26. And for me, I knew swimming was my sport. It was my identity. I'm always known as Ellie Simmonds, the swimmer. But when you make that decision to retire from the sport that you're doing every single day, you're doing it not just every single day, but you've got a week plan, a month plan, a year plan, and a 4 year cycle of a games. And then all of a sudden that disappears. You've got to find out who actually am I? What is it I want to do next? Again, like you said, some majority of the people out there in this world, they retire when they're like 65 or something, not when they're 26. So for me, I was trying to figure out what is it I want to do next. And yeah, for me, I've been so lucky to have had a second career in a sense, to be able to work in the TV world, to do documentaries, to be able to talk passionately about not just my career, but other things that I'm passionate about. But I think it's the learning curve, it's the highs and the lows, and to start off with, when I made that decision to retire, I was like, "Do I wanna go in the TV world? What is it what is the world that I wanna actually go in?" But in a way, I slotted into the TV world, the industry, and all of that, and it fit really well, and I love what I get to do. So I have been really lucky with my both careers, but I think there's still when you do make that decision to retire, and also I think it's quite relatable because I think also if we're looking into the work life, and I know a lot of these listeners, they're thinking sometimes about maybe getting the next job or getting a jump for a next promotion or something. The fear of the unknown is sometimes the most scariest thing, but actually sometimes a bit of a leap, a bit of a challenge is actually motivating. It's actually quite nice because we're humans, aren't we? We're sometimes like even I now. I love a routine. I love being in my comfort zone, but sometimes it's actually nice to break that comfort zone and try maybe a new job or try something that you don't know if you're good at, because if you try it you'll figure yourself out, and actually from a personal side but also a business or a job side you develop as well. So I'm always trying to try something new, push yourself, push your boundaries, and yeah, you never know what it could lead to.
You don't know, yeah, exactly. You don't know what it could lead to. You don't know your own skill set often
Mm.
until you push yourself into those uncomfortable sometimes spaces.
Yeah, very much. And I think it can be nerve-wracking, and it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be worrying sometimes about like doing a speech in front of someone or trying something new. But for me, I'm like, when I did retire, I tried like public speaking. I tried, again, doing like sitting at a desk doing emails for a short time on at the British Athletes Commission for a couple of months. I tried that job, and every time I tried something new, I figured out actually what are my skill sets, what is it that I like to do, what is it that I don't like to do, and actually it honed my personal growth in a better direction. So I think, yeah, it's always good to try something new. But again, it is, I don't think we all like nerves, do we?
No.
Like, I know sometimes when I'm sitting about to do live TV, I get that 1 minute of nerves and I'm thinking to myself, why am I putting myself through this? But then all of a sudden those nerves go and you get a massive adrenaline rush.
Let's just go back.
Yeah.
How did you get into swimming?
So how I got into swimming. So I don't know if you can hear in my accent a little bit. I'm from the Walsall area, so not far from here really. And where we grew up, I'm from a big family. I've got four older siblings, and my sister next to me, Katie, she was learning to swim at Bolmere Swimming Club, which is in Sutton Coldfield at Windley Leisure Centre. And for me, I remember watching from the sidelines, just seeing her learn to swim. And for me, then it was as 4 or 5, it was time for me to learn to swim. And I was a very active child, hated being bored, liked to be doing something all the time. So swimming in a way clicked with me because it was something to do after school or when you're a kid learning to swim. But also, it's a life skill as well. Swimming is so important that we learn how to swim. We've seen it in the news quite a lot at the moment, especially with this hot weather. There's been a rise of drownings. But my parents were always aware. Like, we had a caravan in Wales on the beach, on the sea, by the sea. I was always aware that we needed to swim to be safe in the sea, be safe in the water. So I learnt to swim, and when I was young, I didn't just do swimming. I did so many other sports as well, and I was always busy after school. Wanted to be out and about doing doing activities and swimming in a way. Where I learnt to swim, Bolmere Swimming Club, was not just a learn to swim side where you get your 10-meter badge, your 20-meter badge, your 15-meter badge, all that type of badges, but it was also a competitive side as well. So I was swimming for my swimming club like once a week, and then Ashley Cox at the time, the head coach of Bolmere Swimming Club, came over to the learn to swim side. It's like, oh, have you thought about swimming competitively or going to the next level? And ended up just going to the next level, doing
Mm.
2 times a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. And my other activities that I did ended up getting less and less, and swimming just took over. And naturally, I swam 4 times a week, 5 times a week. And from my swimming club, I was swimming on a Saturday at the local Diddy League competitions and just absolutely loving it. For me, swimming was just something that I could just do with friends. And I remember 30 minutes before the session would start, I would want to get there early to play around and mess around in the changing rooms. And I was always last to leave. So it was more not the social side and the keeping busy, the activity side, rather than, oh, I want to become an Olympian or a Paralympian. It was just because the friends, the social side, and I absolutely loved it. But the turning point really, because a 7, 8 year old, I was swimming for the club. I wasn't doing that well. Again, I have a disability, dwarfism, achondroplasia, which is the scientific words. I wasn't able to keep up with my peers. I wasn't doing that well at the competitions. But to the Athens 2004, we watched the Paralympics, and I sat on the sofa and I thought, wow, there's people like me on TV. There's the Paralympics. And I asked my mum, oh, how old do you have to be to go to the Paralympics? And she was like, any age. Well, there is an age limit, but any age. And I think sometimes, well, at that time, my mind clicked and I was like, I want to become a Paralympian. And with that, we've seen people like myself on TV and representation. My mum did some research and found a disability competition. So, December of 2004, I went to my first disability gala, and at the time there was like world class program staff on there, like looking, talent spotting really, and I got talent spotted, and the rest is history. Got on the British Women's Start Programme, and next thing I know, my first World Championships in 2006 in Durban, and yeah, like I said, the rest is history. So that's quite a long snippet, but it was, yeah, short in a
And
way.
I guess it would have been a whole new world for your parents. Like that was that a whole new world for them. They'd never been through those processes
Yeah,
before, I
very
guess.
much so. And I think that's the thing. Like, we've seen it recently at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. And I know this week we've got the Europeans in athletics just in Alexander Stadium. I think sometimes you see the athletes and you see them standing behind the blocks, but actually there's a whole support system to get these athletes to become the best athletes that they want to be and world leading in a way. And I think we can't thank your parents, caregivers, coaches, all of that to get you there. And my parents gave me all those opportunities, and they were enlightened to the para swimming world and was there every step of the way. And swimming is an early morning sport. You get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you swim for a couple of hours, and then you have a whole day of school, and then go back from school straight to training for a couple of hours. Like,
Wow.
your parents have got to dedicate and sacrifice a lot of things, not just yourself. So my parents sacrificed so much to give me the opportunities, and I wouldn't be where I am today without them. Even now, like, even though I've been retired 5, 6 years, they still support me, still make sure I'm okay, even though I don't live at home, I live far away, but I think we wouldn't be able to do what we do without our parents.
You were talking before about pushing yourself out your comfort zone
Yeah.
and that feeling that we get about being nervous. But do you feel that that's something that we get as we get older? Like when you were 13, did you feel nervous or were you just excited? You wanted to just swim and oh, I'm in the Olymp. Yeah, oh, this is what I want to do. Be in the Paralympics. I'm
Yeah.
here. For me, I feel like nerves is something we like learn, and we as we get older, we get more nervous. Was that the same for you?
Oh, exactly the same for me. I think looking back, what I did in Beijing, 2008, 2 gold medals, I think I had an advantage because I wasn't nervous. For me, it was just going to China for a month in my summer holidays, just swimming and just racing. And I think as you get older, your mental capacity changes, and definitely the nerves, the pressure, that has a massive impact on how you feel and how you cope with things. So yeah, looking back, Beijing 2008 when I was 13, I was just so excited, but definitely London 2012, pressure was on my shoulders, and I don't know how sometimes I cope with that pressure. And then, like you said, now feeling the nerves in different aspects, it definitely has a impact.
Um, I could just listen to you
Yeah.
for hours. I just find it so fascinating because I guess when you're like that young, it's just you think it's normal to an extent, don't you? You just think, oh,
Yeah,
this is
very,
what I do.
yeah, very much so. And I think how as you get older, that's when different support systems are needed. And the likes of London 2012, Rio, and Tokyo, the support system grew in the fact of like a psychologist, having someone to help talk to you and to help with your mental strengths and weaknesses, and to work on things such as like nerves and um emotions such as controlling the controllables and visualization and all that type of stuff. It was definitely more thought of as I went to London, Rio, and Tokyo, whereas, like you said, Beijing was just go out there and race. And I think now the strengths and the things that I learned about myself in those mental times with the later games really have helped me into this type of life, into work, talking in front of a TV, knowing that millions of people might be watching you at home, but you're just sitting chatting away. And sometimes, like, the nerves that I feel is like when I'm talking in front of people, it's like, "Oh my gosh, what happens if my all of a sudden your words don't come out?" And I think we all have those worries, don't we? We all have those things of like sweaty palms and heart racing and like worrying about like if something's gonna happen. But at the end of the day, like everyone gets nervous and it's okay to make mistakes. And that's what I've learned later on is like sometimes we can't do everything perfect. And to learn is when you make the mistakes the more in a way.
Yeah, that's that yeah, you're right. We all do get nervous.
Yeah.
And when we make mistakes, that's how we learn from them. You're so right. Um just talking about resilience and like
Yeah.
overcoming challenges. Obviously, as we've said, you've competed on a world stage
Yeah.
for a very, very young age. What are some of the biggest challenges do you think that you faced and what's like helped you to overcome those?
I think the biggest challenges I've overcome and faced is probably pressure, and especially the pressure leading into London 2012. I think we can all put pressure on ourselves, and I think sometimes that's the hardest thing. But for me, the pressure from the public and the media and sponsors going into 2012 was tough. But in a way, we can flip it and think this pressure is an opportunity. Pressure is people going out there watching you and believing you can do it. Because for me, London 2012, I think we all remember where we were during those games. I don't know. Sometimes now I go to primary schools and do talks and secondary school kids now, and then they weren't even born in 2012. I was thinking, like, people don't know what 2012 was, but I think the us or the older generation, you know what I mean, who remember 2012. I think it was a year that remember where we were, watching the Olympics, watching the likes of Super Saturday with Mo, Greg, and Jess, and then the Paralympics were on, and what the Paralympics in London 2012 did for Paralympic sport. We were on posters, we were on everything, which is incredible for Paralympic sport, is incredible for disability representation. But again, your home athletes who have got that added amount of pressure, it makes you more nervous. And like I said, the media, sponsors, even walking out on the streets with people like, "You're gonna get that gold medal," and like I want to try to, I want to go out there and swim as fast as I can. But in a final, you've got seven other competitors. Like you can't control them. For me, I can only go out there and control myself. But sometimes now again, pressure gets me really nervous and it makes you not sleep well and all that stuff. But actually, like it's a privilege and we've got to use it and try and flip it into a positive thing. And to the likes of music I listen to podcasts to try and help me calm my nerves. I write my worries down or things that I can't control and think it's okay, I can't control them. We all have skills, and I think that's the thing is using those skills that maybe you get taught on a podcast like this or from other people who you hear, and what skills work for you might not work for other people, but it's about knowing what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And sometimes like in a race, I didn't like to talk to people. I like to just sit, be in my calmness. Like now, before I'm about to go on TV or about to do something like this, well, I don't get nervous for something like this, but if I'm doing something in a high pressured environment, I make sure I go to the toilet lots of times, even though like I know I can hold my bladder for like an hour or two. It's just that nervous like last minute toilet, and it's like having that little routine that that works for you, or just a bit of breathing, like me and my other half, we always think about box breathing. He was like, breathe in for 3, hold for 3, breathe out for 3, just to help calm those nerves. And yeah, all little things work for me or might not work for other people. But again, it's just honing those skills.
Yeah, that's so important because, like you say, we're all different.
Yeah.
And I think quite often we can hear some advice and think, oh, well, that's not worked for me. And we can get quite frustrated about it.
Yeah.
And actually learning lots of different tactics and working out what's right for us is really important. I know you've spoken quite openly about your experiences as somebody who's disabled, and your kind of personal journey around adoption, and identity. Have those experiences obviously shaped who you are today. What have they taught you about like self confidence and self belief?
Yeah, I think, you know what? And I think probably. anyone, like as a woman or even a man or anyone who identifies. It's like we all have moments where we're more confident and when we're least confident, and acknowledging those confident days, I think people probably think of me, see me on socials or see me in the on media or on TV and think, oh, I'm striving in confidence. And some days I am, like I do feel confident, but then there's also some days where I feel rotten. I feel like, oh my gosh, you don't want to walk outside. You get nervous. You get like you feel low in yourself, all that type of stuff. And it's just acknowledging that it's normal to feel those highs and lows and to have confidence and to have no confidence. But for those low confidence days, like for me, I talk to friends, I go to the gym, I go for a walk in the park. I just do things to just help me feel a bit better about myself. But I think journeys that I've been on in the past, such as like my adoption journey or things like that, like yes, they do knock your confidence. Yes, you do learn about yourself, but actually, like you wouldn't be the person that you are today without the journey that you've had in the past. And I think all of that shapes you to who you are today.
I think sometimes you almost need to have your confidence knocked to build it back up stronger than it was before. If that makes sense?
Yeah, no, very much so.
'Cause so you don't know necessarily what you don't know, and actually it can be difficult to go through those things, but actually when you come out on the other side, you're stronger than when you started.
Yeah, very much so. And I think, yeah, like I was actually a speaker, went camping last week with my friends, and we we were speaking in the car about like what about how do you know when you have these in-depth conversations when you're camping and you're with your friends, and we had the chat about like what's been our low moments and what's been our high moments. And I think we were talking about actually like I'm sitting right now and I don't regret anything. Like, yes, there's mistakes that we all make, but actually those mistakes you learn from it. And like you mentioned, the days where your confidence maybe gets a bit knocked, actually you can learn about yourself more and get that confidence boosted up. Because I think even everyone's sometimes lacking in confidence. You can think of you look great or you've got a nice outfit on, but actually like you inside might be feeling low, but people don't see that in a
Yeah.
person. But it's just again working out what makes you feel better and using friends or using family or using like going to the gym. I find working out, like sometimes I can't be motivated, I can't be bothered, even though I spent the majority of my life working out. Like now I'm like, oh my gosh, I could just lie in extra. But once I'm in the gym, I feel amazing. I'm so thankful that I push myself to go. And I think it's just sometimes getting yourself motivated and going and doing something with people or out and about doing exercise, and then you feel really good about yourself.
And do you still swim anywhere in your spare time?
Do you know, I sometimes I haven't been for some weeks. I used to try and well, I try and swim once a week, but it doesn't happen. But I do like go to the gym and do like Barry's boot camp in London, so I try and do something at least, or even like um go badminton or play tennis or pickleball, just something different to just work out, or even go for a walk and stuff. Like I think sometimes we think, don't we, exercise is just going to the gym for 30 minutes or 40 minutes, but actually exercise is perceived in so many different ways. And I think since retiring, I love doing lots of variety of different stuff.
It's really important actually as well, though there's a lot of studies that show like exercise in nature, so like going for a
Yeah,
walk and even just walking with a friend, you have a different type of conversation when you're walking than if you were sitting having a glass of wine or having a cup of coffee. There's a lot of studies around like the importance of going for walks and chatting to people. So
I totally agree on that. I think, yeah, totally, like you say, like you can have some in-depth conversations and just let your feelings out, because I think sometimes we hold stuff in, don't we? But actually go for a walk with a friend and just talk about what you're feeling like.
something magic, something
Oh,
magic.
very much so.
So just want to talk a bit about perceptions. So I know through your career, obviously, I'm sure that you have had some challenging things that's happened to you. What progress do you think you've seen around disability? So do you think that, I mean, there's still a lot more change that can happen. How do we create a more inclusive society?
Yeah, I think,
It's quite a big question.
yeah, no, it's great. It's really good. I like it. I love questions like this. I think You know what? I think there has been a change, but I think there's still more to be done with um, a disability in society. I know the likes of Sophie Morgan, Shani Danza, Samantha Rinky, they all speak so openly about like such as public transport. They speak so openly about public transport for disabled people. Jobs, the likes of government support, all that type of stuff. And I think there's lots more to be done. And also, I think again we've seen it in the media. We've seen the likes of what Strictly's done with the likes of Rose Ayling-Ellis, the first individual with deaf who won Strictly. Again, Chris McCausland, visually impaired, who won Strictly. And I think things like that, when you see disabled people in the likes of reality or dancing shows or on TV, that can change perception in society. And I think now when I go to primary schools, kids are so open to talking about different disabilities, not just disabilities, but disabilities that we can see, but also disabilities that are invisible too, like the likes of um autism or that intellectual impairments. And I think kids are getting more awareness of disability, and I think that's amazing and it's great. But again, I think it just needs to change a bit still. More, there's more to do in the likes of the workplace or in everyday society.
And I think even before that, I mean, watching your documentary, the recent one, about should I have children, I think just what really shocked me was how the medical team like respond when someone says, when you get that news, "Oh, I'm pregnant and the baby's potentially going to have a disability." It's not a positive, excited response that they get from the doctor. And actually, like if they go on with that pregnancy, it could take years for them to feel excited or be in a position that you're in now to talk about it so passionately. Like, I just think we need to kinda almost go back to that first the doctors, what are you saying to those
Y-
women?
Oh, very much so. Like, I think language needs to change. And like you said, the last documentary that I got to do last year, which we were following a hospital and words, because for me, 31 years ago, when my birth mum got told that I had a disability, the paper that she got given was that I was job wise, I was going to go in the circus. I wasn't mentally going to be there. I wasn't being able to get a normal job, all that type of stuff. And
The word evil got me. I can't
yeah.
believe that that was a printed medical
Oh,
document.
yeah, it was, and that's crazy, and I think that's why we wanted to see, has that perception changed, has that wording changed, and actually, it still hasn't. Like, yes, we're not individuals with dwarfism aren't seen as evil or perceived to go in the circus, but there's still that negative wording that's used when someone gets diagnosed with their unborn baby that they've got a disability, it's still seen as, "Oh, I'm really sorry," or "You can have an abortion," or all that type of stuff, and it's not celebrated. Like again, um, children with Down syndrome, children with other disabilities can be aborted to a later stage, which we see in the world. Like there's incredible amazing people with different disabilities out and about. And if we start thinking about aborting them at such a at when they're unborn, like we'll be in a society where there isn't any difference. And I think having that language changed by the medical professions, and they're the people you trust. They're the ones that when you get these news, that if you're seeing it as a positive, you can cope and you can be all right. And I think yeah, there's still a lot to be done and a lot to be changed. Even when I did my documentary about my adoption and my disability, still when we were following social workers, there was, say in the database, there was 1,000 families looking for a child to adopt. That 1,000 families went to only 8 families that are happy to have a child with a disability, which is a huge drop. Only 8 families are happy to have a child with a disability. That's crazy. That's so sad because Chil children with a disability are still children. They still want love. They still need a family, all that type of stuff. And it's crazy. Even though you're choosing to have a child, you're still choosing for a certain type of baby or still
Yeah.
certain type of child. And that was alarming.
Yeah. There was a documentary years ago. I'm sure the actress's name is Sally Phillips.
Oh, yeah, her son has got, a
Yeah.
disability, he's got Down syndrome.
And that
Yeah.
documentary, it's always stuck with me. She was so kind and gracious with how she dealt with that. But one of the things that really stuck with me, which she said was, if we live in a world where we're just killing people before, with Down syndrome, we're not actually like giving them a chance to live or in the world. And one of the things she said was, it makes us a less kind society, and that people with Down syndrome often bring so much joy. They're often so curious. That's the word that she used. They're often so curious. And she said it's forced her as a mom to be more patient, to be more kind, and it's brought so much joy in their family. And if we're not allowing those types of people in the world, we're gonna lose that. We're gonna lose that magic.
Oh, very much so, and I think it's sad, isn't it, to be in a society where if that rises with abortion of such as individuals with Down syndrome, it's in a we're gonna be in a society that is gonna be, like I say, we all gonna certain look a certain way, and
Yeah.
in a way, that's we don't wanna go down that route. We wanna celebrate all, and we're all different. We're all different, whether it's disability, whether it's skin color, whether it's hair color, eye color, and it all should be celebrated, and it's yeah, I watched that documentary, and it opened my eyes, and I think there's so many other incredible documentaries that people with a disability or individuals who know an individual with a disability speak about. And I think it's, again, it's really important, documentaries like that, to educate society and educate us on differences.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing. It is about education,
Yeah.
and I think that, I mean, in the documentary that you did, it was so lovely when you went to see the family with all the little kids. They'd all like created like a community
Yeah.
together, and like, but to get there, they had to go through so much negative things. Like can't remember the lady's name now, but she said that the first thing the doctor said to her was, "Oh, it's just bad luck."
Oh, yeah. Oh, very much so. Yeah, I went to a prenatal place where, in Brighton, where there was families and, um, who were all, I think, average height, and all their babies were individuals with dwarfism. And to see the language that they got told when they got diagnosed that their unborn child had a disability and had dwarfism is sad. But then also now they've united and they're using each other as a support system. And I think it's amazing to see when that support system is in place what a big difference it can be. But even now, I know you mentioned about education, but when I go to schools, primary schools, when we do the assemblies and they sing a song, the kids, some of them, sometimes I've been going and the songs are in sign language. And I think that's incredible because I think that's, again, if they all do sign language, then they all include on a natural way of children with um hearing loss, who can't hear. And I think it's great. Like, I love, like, going to schools and seeing the differences, and they're the next generation. They're the ones we need to educate, and if we can educate them on differences, or we can educate them on learning sign language or Makaton or Braille, then they're the ones that later on in life are gonna educate their parents, but then educate the whole of society.
And then the next generation.
Oh, very much so,
Yeah.
and I think that's where schools are the ones we need to target to, because it's sometimes hard to change, habits of the older generation, but if you can imprint and educate the youngsters, then that helps.
I'm gonna. I could talk to you about this for
Yeah.
hours, but I'm gonna change to conversation now, just to talk a bit about sort of life beyond the point. I
Yeah.
know we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but you did say something earlier that I was going to tell you off for, so I didn't tell you off now. I'll tell you off now. But you said that you've been very lucky, and I always tell people off for saying that because you're not lucky. You work really, really hard to be where you are.
Yeah.
And I'll often say to our members, we all get given opportunities in life. We all have different
Yeah.
opportunities, but we all get given opportunities. And often it's what we do with those opportunities, if we seek them out, if we're confident with them, if we're curious, if we ask questions. I wanted to just talk about that. And yeah, I guess what motivated the transition. Obviously, you kind of retired at 26. what motivated you into this new chapter? Was it something you always knew you wanted to do, or did somebody sort of support to coach you and mentor you?
Yeah, so, yeah, you are right, to be honest, lucky, there's me, because it is, like, we all work hard to get there. Um, so I knew I was gonna retire going in towards Tokyo, which was my last Paralympics. It was COVID times, and I remember sitting on the tube and thinking, "Gosh, if I could be anywhere, I could be doing yoga, or I could be doing something else," which I've never thought. I normally enjoy going to sessions. I always used to love like walking into the pool and being with my friends, and I was starting to get more resentful. And I thought, then it's my time to retire. And I mean, yeah, great that I could choose to retire. I know a lot of athletes forced to retire due to injury, illness, but I wanted to finish Tokyo on a high Paralympics. And funny story, my first World Championships in 2006 Durban, 12 years old. My first race, I got disqualified. And my last ever race at the Paralympics, the 400 meters, I got disqualified. So me and my coach were like, it's meant to be, you're meant to retire. But I think that transition, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was I knew I might have got an opportunity to go into the media because done a documentary previously, I've done a lot of TV work, but I was still open, and I thought I'm gonna try such variety of different stuff. I went, and I know I said this, but I went and worked for the British Athletes Commission, which is an organisation that helps athletes speak up about things and support athletes. So I went and worked for them for about 3 to 4 months. I worked for them part time and sitting at my desk and did emails. And I realised that's not for me. I prefer to be out and about with people. So and then I sat down with my agent, who has been my agent since 2012 and is my agent still today. And we sat down and was like, let's try this. Let's try go down this route. Let's try these opportunities, see what it's like. And then the January of 2022, um, just a couple of months after I retired, I had a meeting with Strictly, and they said, "Would you like to do Strictly?" And I think Strictly having that opportunity was definitely opened a lot of more doors to like the likes of the TV world, to TV shows and other stuff. And I just kept saying yes to opportunities and yes to different things. And I realized doing speeches in front of people, I'm not a fan of. I don't enjoy that. I like fireside chats where it's like myself and you in front of people, but talking in front of 20 minutes on a speech is not for me. And I realized that. And yeah, I've started to hone down on what I like to do and what I don't like to do. And I think, yeah, I'm now busy. I do Gogglebox. I've done Crufts this year with Channel 4. I just did the TNT, work with them at the Commonwealth Games. And yeah, I do lots of different stuff, whether it's TV, whether it's podcasts like this, whether it's being on a trustee for United by 2022, where yeah, lots of differences, and I love it. And I love that every day is so different. Whereas like when I was an athlete, every day was monotonous. It was the same thing every single day. Whereas now I love the work that I do, that I can in a way work for myself, so I can choose when I want to work and when I don't. But then also I can every day is so different.
That's a very nice segue onto talking about United Boys. So obviously they are they're patrons, but they're also our Future Faces charity of the
Mm.
year. Um, which so yeah, how did you get involved with United by 2022? How did that come about?
Yeah, so from being from the Midlands area, and always being involved in sport, I just a couple of years, I think I just trying to work out the years. It's all coming in together, isn't it? But Birmingham 2022, the Commonwealth Games, I got to be part of the organising committee. So I sat and I did the meetings, and I was part of the committee organising the Commonwealth Games for Birmingham. And I saw the amazing work that individuals do, like John Crabtree, Ian Reid, Martin, all of those, Jess, Nicola Turner, all of those were doing. And I'm very proud to be from this area, and I love coming back here. I love all my family around here, all my I've got friends here. And for me, when the Commonwealth Games finished, I still wanted to be a part of to play with the Birmingham area, and United by 2022 is the legacy charity of the Birmingham Commonwealth Games, and I thought I really want to still be involved and to be a trustee for the charity and to give back to the local Birmingham community, whether it's the Gen 22, whether it's all the opportunities that United by 2020 do give to young individuals or organisations or groups in the Birmingham area or West Midlands area. I wanted to help and be part of. So it's a great charity, and it's what they do is amazing.
If anyone listening wants to know more about United by 2022, you can drop us an email and we can connect you. They're always really keen to.
Yeah, even like volunteering, like they're part of the sorting out the volunteering for this week, the Europeans in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we all want to do something, but we don't know where to start. So if you sign yourself up, get involved and volunteer because you get so much out of volunteering. You feel great for doing it, and it's a great not just giving back, but also you can make friends and meet people from it. It's really good to get connected and get involved.
Some of our Future Faces members are volunteering
Oh,
through United
brilliant.
by this week, and they're gutted because it's fallen on tonight and they can't go on because the sign turns well to it. It's all worked out.
Yeah, it has. But we thank them for what they're doing.
Um, so yeah, kind of final last words
Yeah.
really. Advice, obviously we've got some young professionals listening here today, and yeah, could you leave our listeners, I guess, with any advice on sort of overcoming barriers, yeah, and achieving their goals? What would that be?
Yeah, I think don't be afraid to reach out and bombard people. I think drop those emails. Get your LinkedIn profile good. Go to events that you can get networking and connected with. And like sometimes I go to things where I go on my own, and I'm so nervous to go to like networking events, but once you're there, you get chatting to people, and it can open doors and it can open steps. And don't be afraid to reach out for people's email addresses or numbers, and then meet for a coffee or get stuff. I think sometimes we're scared to ask, but actually asking is the best thing. And I think you can learn from people. Like throughout my career, I needed other people. I was learning so much from other athletes or other coaches, and like don't be afraid. We're still to learn in a way and to reach out. I think that's one of my biggest advice is that I would give to people. And yeah, I give yourself small targets and also long-term goals. I think you feel good once you've hit those short-term goals, but then they equate and help the long-term goals. So I think reaching out, speaking to people, and setting short-term and long-term goals.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Ellie.
No, thank
It's
you.
been so lovely
Oh no, it's
chatting
been so lovely
away.
to chat to you too.
And yeah, so grateful for your time today. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
It's been a real honour to have you on the Future Faces podcast. So thank you for listening to the Future Faces podcast. You can listen to all episodes on all major listening platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we're also now on YouTube as well. A huge thank you to Tribera for hosting us in their beautiful podcast studio today. Don't forget you can follow us on social media. We are at FF Chamber on Instagram. We're also on TikTok and LinkedIn.